All right, folks, welcome back to our third and final match of tonight's triple header here on GG Speedruns of the 9th annual Super Smash TV tournament. I'm LOZ Cards Fan 23, and now joining me on the commentary for our final match, we have got Jackamus Wedge, who last night survived a thrilling 5-game set to advance to the next round of the bottom half of the bracket. Jack, what are you thinking? What are your emotions after you had a very stressful match last night?
Well, Cards, my emotions are actually pretty good. I've been the first racer ever to commentate their own race, even though there were some time travel shenanigans involved there.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. Of course, what Jack means by that is it was a pre-recorded race that Johnny Link and Jackamus did, as they were not able to come up with a time where they could race at the same time. It was a little vodcast there, and it ended up being a 3-2 victory for Jackamus against Johnny Link. A thrilling match. You'll have to go back and watch that from last night. But you're going to be taking on somebody here. It's either going to be, oh boy, Bryce or Prince Leaf. That'll be interesting, especially if Prince Leaf is able to knock off Bryce because, you had your little bit of fun together about a month or two ago, you and Bryce and a lot of other members of the gang. So that would be interesting if you two met in a match.
It's been a while since we've played each other in a tournament, so it would be fun to do it. I'm looking for a little payback if I run into him, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, we'll see if that comes to fruition. But right now, we are focusing on ETGoHAM and SpaceColonzier, the 16 seed taking on the number 14 seed. So ETGoHAM lost to Firebroth 3-1. Then qualified to the next round because unfortunately Hefe Man had to drop out of the tournament. We wish Hefe Man all the best, of course. So that's how ETGoHAM got to their current position. SpaceCo swept 5 up, 3-0, before falling to the number 3 seed. Telio won 3-1. And then SpaceColonzier took care of Starwind in the bottom half of the bracket, 3-0. That's how they got there. So whoever wins will take on the number 5 seed Aquas. That's definitely going to be a tall task for either of these runners. The loser will be eliminated. So, Jack, what are your thoughts about this upcoming match? Do you think we're going to see our 4th consecutive match that goes the distance?
Oh, I certainly hope so. It's been fun watching the previous two, that's for sure. Definitely a lot better than actually being in one, though. Those game fives are always a stressful, sloppy mess on both sides.
Absolutely, indeed. All right. Now that we've had our banter, I'm going to see if both of our runners are ready to go here in game number 1, and we'll get this bad boy kicked off between SpaceCo and ETGoHAM, both of them longtime veterans of the Super Smash TV circuit. So we're checking. So SpaceCo is ready to go. We'll see if ET is ready to go as well. We are waiting him, and once he's ready, we'll get these runners turned loose here for game number 1.
Is ET ready to go ham now?
He sure is. I'm going to count him down.
Awesome possum. Let's get this show on the road. SpaceCo on the left, ET Ham on the right. Feel free to make predictions in the chat room. Who you got? Who you backing? How many games do you want? It's 5, obviously. Let us know.
Obviously, I'm hoping this one goes all 5 as well. We're 2 for 2 on that front so far today. I'd love to see it go 3 for 3, but these runners, they're going to have to play well and just hope that Mutoid Man cooperates equally for both of these runners. Here we go, game number 1. SpaceCo is going to try to do the orb manipulation. ET will not. So SpaceCo could have an advantage on that if he's able to execute.
Yeah, this orb manipulation, the new technology here, it's always very interesting. If it works, you kind of create your own luck. The Razor Shield didn't break there, so I'm not optimistic that SpaceCo was able to do it correctly.
Yeah, ET has the whole shot and about a 1.5-second lead. We'll take a look to see if SpaceCo did pull it off. If so, the orb would show up at his feet. If it not, he won't get an orb. Well, he got the other manipulation. Sometimes, if you're just slightly off, you get the orb in that little northeast corner there. That's exactly what SpaceCo got. So a little bit of a break there. ET does have some rockets to start. Yeah, 3Creepio just pointed it out. That's exactly it. That was the backup. He got it.
It's always nice to have a backup strategy for something like that, especially when it's like a 20-some second manipulation. It's very easy for stuff to just go wrong.
Definitely indeed. So SpaceCo with a 123 versus a 125 has about a 2-second lead. No orb for ET, so gonna have to fish for one here in Eat My Shrapnel. As you know, 18 Mr. Shrapnels to take out. That invulnerability is gonna help for ET. Only, oh no, but he gets clubbed down. That's a time penalty right there for ET. I mean, the shrapnels won't get crazy at least, but that's still a problem right there as he's not gotten an orb. No more than 4 shrapnels can be on the screen at any given point. Then you start to bleed some time once you see that. SpaceCo doing a fine job here, keeping the room under control. There's an orb now for ET, so the time loss should be mitigated, but he's got 4 shrapnel in the room, so he's probably going to lose a little bit more time on top of it. A 2:07 for SpaceCo out the room, and a shrapnel explosion. That's going to be a bigger time penalty. It's a 7-second lead now for SpaceCo starting the room, and he has an opening razor shield to boot.
Yeah, ETGoHAM needed a bit of cleanup there at the end. Orb came late and taking a death, being a little aggressive with the invulnerability.
Yeah, and then the shrapnel explosion, that didn't help either. But ET definitely in the running right now, but SpaceCo with the advantage having that razor shield, and ET not really getting any weapons to complement that orb. So he's got a little bit of work to do here in game number 1. SpaceCo in complete control, even though he's really not got any weapons to go with that razor shield. The problem is for ET not able to take advantage of that. Finally gets a rocket drop, so he may have an opportunity to gain some time back, and has a spreader as well. SpaceCo, a little bit of clip of spreader left. 259 out the door into the bonus room. ET trying to time this nuke, which, no, he's gonna ignore it. I'm a little surprised. He could have ended the room right there, Jack.
Yeah, a bit of a mental mistake there. Maybe not really looking at the timer, thinking there was more left in the room, but that was absolutely a playable nuke.
Yep, so it's a 13-second deficit right now as SpaceCo gained another 6 seconds just because he had that razor shield, able to keep control of the middle of that room. ET had to scramble just a bit. Still in the running, though, but SpaceCo starts with an invulnerability, can ignore the bullets. Both gunners down. Nicely done there for SpaceCo. ET's going to need to have something special here for a first drop. Well, that's nothing special. Invulnerability in a bad spot. He will grab it. SpaceCo is pinned to the corner.
The orb, though, unfortunate.
Yeah, ET did lose the orb, and now SpaceCo with a razor shield, but rockets could help ET. It's nice to have that when you don't have an orb because you can get more out of that rocket.
Yeah, absolutely. If you really mastered the firing pattern on a rocket, the optimal set of drops in any arena is nothing but rockets and no orb, but good luck getting that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to Prince Leaf it all the time and get 6 consecutive rocket drops to get you through tank trouble. It just doesn't happen in tournament play. It doesn't even happen when you're trying for PBs either. So, yeah, SpaceCo, he did lose the orb towards the end, so he won't have an opportunity at the ball buster, but he is leading with a 429 as ET, picked off by the bullets of that tank there, will get a spreader out of it. And I'll tell you what, he didn't really lose too much time, even though he never got that orb back. He's only about 15, 16 seconds back, so he definitely has a shot.
And coming into the boss room with half a clip of spreader, assuming you can bait the fire from the gunners, that's a free form before he even gets in the room guards.
Yep, and does take care of the swirl, and you're absolutely right. He is baiting the gunners, then gets vibrated. So he got a little bit, not too much. But SpaceCo has the first arm pop. Now he's got a couple of lobbers waiting for him. Where's that drop? It's a late lobber there. Good grab from ET. But SpaceCo with the consistent damage, he's trying for it. This is a risky play. Can ET get there? He does.
Want to get it. Will SpaceCo get his, though? He does.
He needed that to keep pace.
And ET got sabotaged.
Oh, my goodness gracious. The old underdogs getting underwhelmed trick yet again that Mutoy Man likes to pull off. You hate to see it. SpaceCo with a commanding lead now here in game number 1. Running out of lobbers, though, but it is final form, though, for SpaceCo. ET just Getting nothing here. He needs to see a spreader right. He needs to see a spreader yesterday. There it is. He needs another invulnerability to even have a prayer. And he gets it, but it's
He
too
got it,
late.
but he got vibrated into.
Oh,
I don't think it would have mattered though, Card. Just a
no.
little too far behind.
No, it wouldn't have mattered, but it's the principle of the matter there, Jackamus. But GG's to SpaceCo, who takes game number 1 with a 6-14. ET does get the spreader, so he can do something with this. And that's an invulnerability. He could do something with that.
Yeah, it's sadly too late. The game just knows the
Yeah.
race is over at this point, so it's like, here's everything you need. Enjoy.
Yep. And then as he tries to finish him off with the lobber, it's like, you know what? Your fun's over. I'm just going to run you over.
Trolltoid doing Trolltoid things, but ET's going to finish off the race. You know, maybe shake some of the jitters off for the first match there. Hopefully come back a little stronger in game number 2 here.
Yep, definitely. So SpaceCo taking the first match here, the first game of this best of 5 match. And it's a 40-second victory. So, yep, SpaceCo, a luckier Mutoid Man fight. ET, had the drops. They were just in the wrong order. And then when he had that invulnerability that showed up after the spreader, again, wasn't going to matter, but this could have been maybe a 20-second match instead of a 40-second match. I mean, it's these little things here, Jack, that determines winning and losing sometimes.
Yeah, the competition is really tight in this tournament compared to what it was in some of the earlier years. It's almost like both runners are just playing a slot machine at each other, seeing who can get just a little bit luckier.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. When you get down to these final matches, when you have 2 runners that are pretty much of equal caliber, sometimes, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like a pull of the slot machine, but some of these players can pull the slot machine better than others. I can't explain how that happens because, RNG is RNG, but it just seems like some players get the RNG more than others. I'm sure you understand that, Jack.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everyone's going to have their theories about how this and that works, but the best way to take advantage of that slot machine nowadays is to do the little manipulation. If you can get that orb first drop every time, you're creating your own luck a little bit there.
You certainly are indeed. So here we go with game number 2. We'll see if ET can equalize this match or if SpaceCo can do what Lucha did in the last match, and that's take a 2-0 lead and go triple match point for the match. So SpaceCo will go for the manip again. He's 1 for 1 so far. We'll see if he can go 2 for 2.
Yeah, looking good so far, and ETGoHAM making good use of the Razor Shield there, just able to move in and out of the center a little bit to tag some of those extra swarmers.
Looks solid there for SpaceCo. It is going to be pretty even. Real Zero thinks that SpaceCo's got it. I think SpaceCo's got it as well. We'll take a look here and see if it has come to fruition. SpaceCo yet again, and a different location.
Not exactly, but still the desired result.
Wow, he's 2 for 2 somehow, and they've not been in the right location either. But ET gets an orb of his own.
Yep, sometimes you just are going to get that even without the fancy minute.
Yep.
You'll take it. It's what you want.
So that's what happened. Didn't kill the right guys at the start of Collect Power-Ups. That's why the orb appeared in a funny location. ET is going to have the advantage as SpaceCo struggling to finish off the room here and will lead by about 2.5 seconds and starts with rockets. That's great. Watch out for that swirl. It got him.
Yeah, rockets are more of a convenience feature in this room than an absolute necessity. It just makes it easier to keep on top of everything.
They're a necessity when you don't have an orb.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you have an orb, this room is essentially free. You can't really gain time. You can only lose time.
Correct. Yep. When you have 4 shrapnels on the screen, that's when you can start losing time. A nuke on the feet will also lose you time. Taking deaths will also lose you time. So, yeah, right now, ET should keep about that same lead. 207 out the room here. SpaceCo 209. So, yeah, same 2.5 second lead that ET had because neither had a weapon to finish off the room. ET with the Razor Shield in a real bad location. He's going to ignore it. I think that's a smart play, even though he probably would have loved to have had it.
Yeah, just too difficult to get over there with all the shrapnels exploding and all the mines in the way. It's just asking for disaster. It
Speaking
certainly
of
does help a
disaster,
ton in the room, but
SpaceCo losing his orb, so this could be ET's chance to gain a big lead on him. But as I say that, SpaceCo does get a replacement back.
yeah, he gets a replacement back, but some of that time without the orb and the weapon is going to factor in here.
Gets for ET, gets back to the middle. He's got a nuke opportunity here. Let's see if he can time it this time. He uses it a little bit too early. I don't think he was going to get it anyways, but, you know, it's a little breather that he could have used. SpaceCo loses his orb again. I didn't see how, but he lost his orb a second time, so a little rough going there, 307, but SpaceCo somehow gained a half a second just because I think his firing lanes are better. Speaking of fire, he's got a half a clip of rockets, which he can take down both gunners, so, you know, ET, the pressure's going to be on him to keep that orb in tank trouble. You know what it's time for? We got Taco Bell product replacement, this time from Taco John's.
John's? What? I've never heard of that one.
Do they not have them in Canada, I wonder? Maybe they don't. I have no idea. But in any
Could
event,
very well be the case, yeah.
that could be. So, we have got problems here for ET. He's going to have to do a lot of dancing. That shrapnel came dangerously close to picking him off there, and now he's relegated to a corner. SpaceCo took a death, so both players kind of struggling here in tank trouble as we're getting the old TTTT, and right as I say that, it's rockets for SpaceCo. That could really help him out. ET is still relegated to the corner of the room, so his kill count is dangerously low. Nice grab of the rockets, though. He needed that.
There was an orb for SpaceCo, but he got a little too excited going toward it. He didn't really clear a path to it, and having to dodge all those bad guys left him open to fire from the cannon on the way back to the center.
See how this plays out here, because firing lanes is going to be important, and ET is still going to have the lead. How much of a lead? Not too much of a lead. It's a 428 for ET. He will have a chance at the ball buster, but SpaceCo only 5 seconds back, so ET needs to nail this ball buster and then hope that SpaceCo doesn't get drops.
First drop lobber for ET, nothing wrong with that. It's basically the solid damage option for the boss fight, at least.
He's not going for the ball. Well, I don't know what happened there, but he got flexed, so he loses the chance at the ball buster, and now he's got some rockets. Oh, a spreader for SpaceCo. That, yeah, he could not die for that. He was never getting that one. He parked on that one. I think even Mutoid Man wants to see this go 5 games the way this is shaping up at this point.
Certainly looks that way, Cards. ET is going ham with that lobber and has a huge chance to tie this thing up at 1 game apiece.
Yeah, it's a full form lead right now for ET, and that lead could grow here as it's a better quality of weapons for ET as opposed to SpaceCo. Now he has the invulnerability, which will protect him for a bit. There goes the rib cage, so that lead has grown, but now we need a weapon, and it's a park job for SpaceCo on those lobbers. He can't get it, and he finally got it somehow. ET has some lobbers of his own, though. Spreader in a player 2 spot, so ET gonna have to go for the manuals here. Key's not gonna help, and he gets vibrated. Didn't look like much, but he got vibrated all right. Does get to the head popping off, but it's a full form lead right now, and it's shrinking because that's back-to-back empty drops for ET, but an empty drop for SpaceCo. It's a lobber for ET, a rocket for SpaceCo. ET still has the advantage.
ET a little bit of sabotage.
Man,
Still
how many
sabotages? At
sabotages?
least.
And the spreader, but again, gonna have to manual the space code. He's going top bottom route. Final form for ET, and he is picked off as that hitbox expands when you get to the final form. And now you see a spreader. It's the wrong time to see it. That's the wrong spot too. Lobbers for SpaceCo. This could be very close here, depending on how these lobbers shape up. Final form for SpaceCo. But can ET finish him off with these rockets? Will it be enough for ET?
He needs to finish him with these rockets because that's...
He
doesn't! Opportunity for SpaceCo to snipe it, and he does!
Wow! The final form, and ET misses out. It's a 703 for SpaceCo and a 706 for ET. The difference, about 2.5 seconds. What a heartbreaker. Bad quality weapons, and SpaceCo, perfect shots on the lobber. He never gave up on that fight there, and SpaceCo breaks ET's heart here, and now ET's firmly, his back is against the wall.
Yeah, crunch time for ET. What a heartbreaker of an ending for him. But like you
Now,
said,
wait a now.
tip your cap to SpaceCo. Just very, very good accuracy, able to pry victory from the jaws of defeat.
Now, hang on just a moment here. I don't know if this was a mistake or not, but according to the matchup channel, ET went done first. But I need a ruling on this. I don't think the videos were off sync, so I think this is a SpaceCo win. I'm gonna check with this, but hang on, folks.
Yeah, we're just going to check in with both of the runners right quick and make sure there isn't a dispute over who the victor is in this one.
Yeah, on our end, it looked like that SpaceCo had it all the way. I mean, obviously we can definitely take a look, but to the naked eye, it definitely looked like SpaceCo won by 2.5 seconds. But ET, at least from what I'm seeing, done it early. It says also took a while. Oh, okay. So now SpaceCo is saying that it took him a while. His dot done was delayed. His dot done was delayed according to what SpaceCo is saying. So I'm checking. Let's see what Dino has to say. I think, yeah, it was about a 3-second victory. I think we got it ruled in favor of SpaceCo here. But what he's saying is that he put his time 7:03 on there. ET does not put his time on there when he dot dones there, but I'm going by what we have on the tape, and I say that's a SpaceCo victory. So, yep, he's up 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any argument to be had there. I think the Duns is more of a formality. When it comes down to it, you got to go with what the tape says.
Yep, I'm just verifying that with both of our runners here. We'll do game number 3 in just a moment. We're just verifying that what we saw there was accurate. And as far as I'm concerned, there should be no mistake. But yeah, a heartbreaker there for ET, who had the lead practically the entire way. And then the final form, just SpaceCo just never gave up on it. He had better quality weapons. He was nailing his lobber shots, and that's what enabled him to sneak into the back door. And that rocket clip, which not only has slow DPS, didn't get enough to finish that off and needed that other weapon, and that delay cost him right there. So, yep. So ET says that it's 7:06. So there you go. Okay.
Yep, all cleared up. So we'll get our runners ready, and we'll be right back with you with game number 3. See if ET can go ham and come back in this one.
All right, so yep, it is officially a SpaceCo win. He's up 2-0. I will now ask if they're ready for game number 3.
Yeah, it just looks like ET's waiting through the high score screen to set up the guaranteed razor drop at the start, and then we should be good to go.
Both runners are ready to go. I'm counting them down. All right, so here we go with game number 3. So just like Tapatio, ET is down 2-0 with SpaceCo being on triple match point. He's got to forget about what happened in game number 2 and focus on the now here in game number 3. So far, SpaceCo is 2 for 2 on the orb manipulation, even though the orb did not spawn on his feet either time, but it has worked for him so far. We'll see if he can go 3 for 3.
Yeah, well, the nuke showed up in the correct spot and the razor shield broke, so it's probably okay. I am by no means an expert on the subject, but from what I've seen so far in this tournament, that looks right at least.
Yeah, it definitely looks right on SpaceCo's side here. I think he's going to be 3 for 3. Now let's see if he can get the orb right on his feet, like he's not done yet. There it is. He's got it. He got it on the perfect location. He's 3 for 3.
Yeah, 3 for 3 on the orb, and now ET going to be looking for his orb. Doing it the old-fashioned way. Spreader's going to get some wider shot angles for him in the meantime, but he'd really like to see that orb, or at least a rocket.
Certainly indeed here. So yeah, the advantage right now to SpaceCo, but he is going to lose some time to those shrapnels here, but ET just has not gotten the weapons he's needed to keep alive here. It's a 121 for SpaceCo versus a 126 for ET. 5-second advantage, and ET, he needs to see an orb. He needs to see it fast. Rockets will help at least keep this room under control, so he'll be safe for the time being, but he still needs to find an orb soon.
Yeah, and ET's previous room really wasn't that bad, just no weapon at the end forced a long cleanup. That's really where the deficit came from.
Oh, absolutely it did. There's a foot for ET, still fishing for an orb. There's a razor shield. He'll just go ahead and grab that. SpaceCo couldn't ignore this razor shield. He won't need that, and this one should do it for SpaceCo. That is the last one. 204 for SpaceCo. ET, he's got 209. So he kept the room the same 5-second deficit, even without the orb. Just good quality weapons, good job keeping control of the room. But now this is where he can really hemorrhage time if he does not see good quality. Rockets, again, will keep him afloat, but he needs that orb, or he needs a mistake from SpaceCo.
Yeah, absolutely. And ET electing not to play the nuke. That's a tough call to make there. The nuke probably not necessary with rockets, but you also need to force drops faster for that orb, or at least the next rocket, which ET does get, and another.
Yeah, more rockets. So again, the rockets are keeping him alive here in Total Carnage. SpaceCo with back-to-back spreaders now, so you know he's doing fine with the drops. So he doesn't have anything to worry about. That's going to be there in the room. SpaceCo. It's 3 minutes flat, still with the orb intact. No weapon to take with him into tank trouble. ET, again, he's done all he can. It's just the game is just not giving him the orb. This could potentially be an orbless run here for ET as he's 15 seconds back. He's done nothing wrong in this game. It's just SpaceCo's gotten the orb on the manipulation, and ET has not even seen one orb. And if this doesn't change, it's going to be 3 and out for ET.
First drop nuke for SpaceCo, definitely helpful to get at least one of the gunners out of his hair.
Yep, and he'll have to deal with the other one, but he's going to try for diagonals here on the bottom left corner, and still a few shots left to go. Takes him down. There's an orb finally as ET's picked off, but he may have an opportunity to get this. He did it somehow.
It's a matter of keeping it, which was up in the air, but he does. He's just got to fight his way back to gain control of the room now.
And he still has both gunners to worry about as well, so he's going to be pinned to that southwestern corner right now, but these rockets could help him. Nice bobbing and weaving there, keeping that orb nice and
what
healthy.
Movement. How did he not lose the orb there, Carrots?
Absolutely amazing. He finally loses the orb there, unfortunately. Just too much, but then gets a replacement. The game is trying to give him a chance, but the problem is, look at SpaceCo here. Even though he lost the orb late, still has the lead, and that gunner continuing to cause problems. A third orb for ET here in tank trouble, and loses a third orb here in tank trouble. This has just not been ET's day. Brutal.
It's 3 orbs, but they've all been in just terrible locations. The game is just mocking him with these unclaimable orbs.
Yep. Definitely. So 4:24 was the time, and ET almost gets clubbed at the end. Is 25 seconds back, but not out of it because SpaceCo hasn't popped an arm yet. He's about to, though.
There's still some hope for ET, but he's definitely going to need significantly better drops than SpaceCo to pull this one out.
All right, he's going to grab the grenades here to take care of the gunners up front, which they're both gone. But now he needs to start seeing spreaders here. That's a spreader. The problem is too late. He can't die for that one, but he can die for this one.
Huge opportunity for ET to get back in this thing, possibly pull ahead. He's got a ton
Empty
of
drop for
invulnerability.
SpaceCo. Empty drop for SpaceCo, and both arms have popped off. He won't be able to get to that lobber, unfortunately. And SpaceCo's retaking the lead with the rib cage exposed. So ET did what he needed to get back into this, but he still needs help. That's helpful. SpaceCo getting zapped, and then an empty drop.
This is going to be a pretty close one, Cards.
Yeah, and ET can't die for that spreader. It's in a bad location, and he needs to just try to manual this here. He's trying to be as careful as possible, and he's taking the lead. But it's going to be short-lived.
Ahead for now. He's not going to be able to reach that lobber, so
No
we're
shot.
looking at even Stevens here. SpaceCo probably back out in front with an earlier lobber pickup.
And more lobbers now, and ET's missing a lot of shots here. Final form for SpaceCo, retaking the lead as he's trying to lock up this match here and move on to the next round. Final form for ET, but an empty drop. This could be the writing on the wall here, Jack.
Those two empty drops certainly not helping.
Yeah.
ET. And the lobber refill for SpaceCo. This probably will do it.
It is over. It is done. Get your GGs out for SpaceCo. It is a clean sweep as SpaceCo will move on to the next round with a 3-0 victory. ET, he did his best to come back in this match. Almost pulled it off, but the barrage of empty drops at the end, that was it.